Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to the Procastinators Podcast. We don't have a name for it yet. It's kind of a new idea. We're going to call it English Chaps with Tea for the moment because we all have a hot drink of some sort and we're all pretty damn English. It's me, Flynn, of the Procastinators, as you probably know, and I'm here with Zachary.
Hello.
And John.
Hello.
And Alex.
John
Hello.
wasn't last.
And John wasn't last.
So we have to start again.
I'm in shock.
You're all sat the wrong way around. It's quite confusing.
Deeply.
As it's a podcast, should we introduce ourselves? I mean, properly. I mean, just say who we are, because we're going to be talking about things. So, Alex, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I am Alex. I am from Durham, and I am an acrobatic gymnast and coach. That's what I do for a living at the minute.
You're obviously at the moment because you're also an actor. You're working with the National Youth Theatre.
Yeah, I'm doing some work with them at the minute.
Down here in London.
Yep. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I'm being a lodger.
Alex is currently our lodger.
Yeah.
In the Procastinators household. Zachary?
I'm Zach, and I too am an actor, and also from the north, but not from quite that far north.
No.
From West Yorkshire.
I was born in Yorkshire.
Yeah, well, there we
I
are.
was born in Bradford.
I know you have a Bradford accent for a start, which is,
There
There
we go.
actor and writer and various other things.
I mean, you're a composer. You've composed our theme.
The theme which you have heard preceding this, perhaps.
Preceding or underneath, it might be
Underscoring.
Preceding or underneath sounds like the rules of an orgy.
Preceding or underneath. My name is Flynn. I am an actor, writer, strange person. I'm from Devon originally, and Dudley for a time, but I lost the accent for good reasons. Thank you for that deserves applause. And I work in a comic book shop to make ends meet, so I think that tells you pretty much everything about me. And John, you are now last again.
Order has been restored.
Order has been restored. Introduce yourself, please.
You know, you think I spent this time thinking about what I was going to say, but completely blanked on that one. My name's John. Basically, at the moment, I'm a chef. I'm also going to be a student again. I'm going back and studying a master's in theatre and drama studies. And I'm looking to be a lecturer, so listening to me talk is what people are going to be doing for long periods of their life.
God help them all.
I mean, these people are apparently doing it willingly.
Yeah, that's true.
For some reason.
Also, you have been to some very well-structured and very polite orgies by the time of this.
I mean, the first thing I learned was that without structure, the whole thing falls apart. Especially the human pyramid.
What was the topic of this?
So which I feel the discussion about orgies segues well into is sports. Sports is the topic of this episode.
More athletic, the better.
The more athletic, the better.
Still talking about the orgies.
So, all right, John, I'm going to let you open this one. What sport should be included in the Olympics?
Oh, God. So we had a little bit of a brief on this, and I said one thing specifically, and originally I said thumb wrestling, but we found out that some place somewhere actually has that as a proper national sport.
You say find out, I may have made that up. I don't think I made it up, I think it's true, but I might
Well,
have
I'm sorry, I'm taking it as your word as gospel at this point,
Okay.
which is a terrible idea. I'm actually just going to go with another kind of wrestling, and actually just go with arm wrestling, because have you ever seen an arm wrestling competition?
No.
No. Those guys are the most pumped up, psyched up motherfuckers. The amount of times that a referee has to intervene on an arm wrestling match is ridiculous. And I've had moments where I've watched a couple of the compilations online, and I've seen people that have been trying to sort of throw the person off the table, and their arm's not moving, but they're moving the person around the side of the table, and the referee has to sit them and put them down. It's why they have those metal bars as an extra thing to hold on to anchor themselves, because the force of the other people in this competition might actually move. I'm pretty sure they bolt the tables to the floor to prevent movement. And if things start going too bad, somebody else who is bigger and musclier than these guys who are doing this arm wrestling competition has to intervene. The balls on that person Honestly.
All right. I'm going to throw in a caveat to this.
Yes.
Everyone in the British Olympic team must have at some point in their life appeared on the Jeremy Kyle show. Because when you say an even bigger, beefier guy coming on, all I can think of is those moments in the Jeremy Kyle show where the bouncer walks up.
You know,
It's just like, duh.
The thing that I couldn't get my head around, though, in terms of bracketing, is how you do left versus right. So what happens if you're a left-handed
that is a good question.
arm wrestler and you want to compete in the Olympics, but the entire sport is bracketed for right-handed?
Well, like, we already have separate male and female for sports. And generally speaking, I think I'm right in saying this, there are fewer female teams in general?
In the Olympics?
Well, not just specifically the Olympics, but kind of general professional sports.
I mean, at least
is it just that there's less
publicised.
coverage?
I think there's less coverage.
There is less coverage, but I mean, I don't know if I'd say there's less, but it's like saying less coverage. I mean, you're getting the women's football team. They're now getting the coverage that they should be getting now.
Which is really cool.
It's great. There should have been.
that.
Yeah, I watched the final. It was England versus Portugal.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was England versus Portugal. Now that was. Yeah, we lost, but it was a great match to watch. That's probably one of the only times I've actually really enjoyed watching football.
I might have to give that a go. We said we weren't going to talk about football.
No.
But the thing is, those two do go hand in hand, because the less coverage a sport gets or a team gets, the less likely they're going to get sponsorship, and the less they can go professional. So we may have to do research on this. This might be spurious, but take nothing for granted here, folks.
How would you feel, though, about the inevitable groups of people saying that the left-handed arm wrestlers just aren't as good a game as the right-handed ones in that situation?
I don't.
God, that's a whole new breed of sort of self-superiority coming in.
It's kind of an old one coming back, because we used to have that thing against left-handed people. We are so off topic. I'm going to pull us right back down to earth.
Well, just before that, like you'd probably end up calling the entirety of that wrestling the alt left.
And there we go. There we go.
That was a sinister joke.
Right.
Alex, for a sensible answer, what sport should be included in the Olympics?
Well, I'm just going to have to go and state the obvious. For me, it'd probably be my own sport, acrobatic gymnastics. I'd like to see. I think it's long overdue, and that should be an Olympic sport.
So, for those of us who don't know the ins and outs of gymnastics, what is included in the Olympics, and why? How is acrobatic gymnastics different?
Well, at the minute you've got artistic gymnastics, which is in the Olympics, which probably everyone is probably it's probably the most known one, which is the men's pommel horse. You've got the tumbling on the floor. You've got the rings.
Oh, okay.
You've got the women's beam, the vaults. You've got all of them, which most people probably heard of one of those things. Then you've got the rhythmic gymnastics, which is the ribbon. And you have like the hoops and the ball on the floor, and you do that. And then you've got trampolining, which is another one where you're on a trampoline. But acrobatic gymnastics...
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I know, I'm just stating the obvious for people who don't. I know. Trampolining. Which about
I'm sure we're missing something from this trampolining session.
No, but and I do acrobatic gymnastics, which is basically you have the gymnastic floor as normal, but you're in a partnership with another partner, and you do gymnastics moves like you would do bouncing on the head, handstands. You do dynamic element, which is a lot of throwing around the other people, catching them in somersaults. And you have different disciplines, like you do in heavy sports. You have men's pairs, which is 2 men. You have men's fours. You have women's pairs. You have women's trios, and you have mixed pairs, which is a man and a woman. And you've got different elements in that. You've got the balance element, which is you perform a 2.5 minute routine, just all about bouncing. So you bounce on the head, bounce on the arms. Then you have a dynamic routine, which is a lot of throwing and somersaults, and then you have a combined for the final, which is basically just combined too.
Wait, that's when the gymnastics starts to look a bit more like Japanese anime, but you know.
So, why isn't it included
Yeah.
in the Olympics? Because
That
it
sounds awesome.
sounds really cool.
And just as a
Like-
side note, before we get into that, here's just a list of a couple of things that do actually appear in the Summer Olympics. Alongside this, there is lacrosse, which is not the most odd one, but still it's a strange one. Tug of war, croquet, cricket, and Summer Olympics specifically, figure skating and ice hockey. So why is this not an Olympic event?
It's like you were saying before, it's probably down to publicity. I mean, we don't get a lot of publicity. I mean, everything that's funded in British gymnastics is funded through BG, which is the British Gymnastics, which is the governing body, and all the funding, usually that would go into that, kind of goes to all the artistic and all the rhythmics. That is an Olympic sport. We don't get much like. I've been on the British team. I was on it 2005 to 2013 until I took a break from it. And it's a lot of when you're in a sport, when you're high up into a sport, into the Olympics, you get everything paid for. You get all your travel paid for. You get your hotels paid for, and you get paid to even train. Like loads of like we were saying before about sponsorships. Loads of artistic gymnasts and rhythmic and trampolines will get sponsorship. Not all the time, but quite a lot, and they can earn a nice living on that. But with acrobatic, it's a lot of paying for yourself. So you've got to pay for your own travel. You pay for your own hotels for competition, and we'll gladly do it to represent our country. I think if it was an Olympic sport, a lot more people would be doing the sport. And it's not quite as well known as all the others is. So it's just down to publicity.
Again.
So, if anyone out there is listening, if anyone is listening to this, thank you. But go YouTube some. What was it?
Acrobatic gymnastics.
Acrobatic gymnastics.
Acrobatic gymnastics.
And is there any of your stuff we can find?
Yes, there is. If you go on YouTube and you type in my name, Alex Houston, and
that's Houston, people.
Yeah. You type in my gymnastic partner's name, Tim Pritchard. We've got about 3 videos on there, I think, from European Championships back in 2013, when we got a silver medal from there, and you'll see all the 3 different elements that we have in that routine. But going back to the question, that's
Shameless,
the sport.
utterly shameless.
That's the sport I'd probably like to see in the Olympics, just because I do it.
Like what's in there? No, but someone started, I don't know, change.org petition or something.
There are loads of there are petitions floating around on Facebook that have been floating around for years, but it's really, we need to get FIG involved. FIG is the Fédération Internationale Gymnastique, that's in France, and they have a say in what happens in the gymnastic world, whether events going to go on or not. So it's them we need to convince, really, and the Olympic Committee. But we'll get there eventually. What about you, Zach? What would you like to see?
My job!
Sorry.
First John did it, but he did it well, so I let it go. But come on now. Think Radio 4, people. We have to have rules and order here. So, Zachary, what sport would you like to see included in the Olympics?
I don't have anywhere near as detailed an explanation or reasoning. I just think it'd be really cool. Mounted archery.
Mounted archery sounds fantastic.
I have seen someone who has, I can't remember the name for the life of me, it'll come back at some point, I'm sure, but someone who has basically studied old Mongolian manuscripts and things which document how archery was done on horseback for warfare. And it's obviously completely different from doing it standing still, because you can't use any of your stances or anything like that. You've got to hold the bow and the arrow differently and release it all differently. But the way that she practiced it was she had basically a very simple oval race course for a horse to go around, and targets set at various points with lines, certain distances from those targets, and targets of various sizes as well to sort of mimic human targets in various pieces, like heads and torsos and all of that. Essentially, what I want to see is people galloping around a race course, and at a certain distance, a target pops up, and you've got to hit it down with an arrow.
I mean, we have a bloody horse dancing thing. What's that called?
Equestrian.
Equestrian, which it's very talented, but I don't
Dressage,
understand
that's
it.
the one.
Yeah.
Dressage, that's it. But that would be incredible. But I guess there's a problem with it. I guess it would be quite an expensive thing to get into. But then we have polo, dressage, and croquet.
And that being said, we have a similar style of sport that goes up in the Winter Olympics, which is the winter triathlon.
Yes.
Where you ski, you shoot, you keep skiing.
Not all at the same time.
Not all at the same time.
You
You pause to shoot, but it's something of a similar concept, and I would quite enjoy seeing that. That would be very, very fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already have archery and horse riding as Olympic sports. Why not just put the two together?
I've watched live shows at events before where there were a group called the Devil's Horsemen, I think, but they train stunt horses. Mm-hmm. They also tour. But these horses have been used in basically any film you can think of with some awesome horse scenes. Just watching these horses is incredible. The power they have, the things they can pull off. Team that up with shooting ability, that is just great spectator sport and also such a skill. Like John before, I haven't spent this time thinking about what sport I'd like to see in the Olympics, which is really kind of dumb. I don't know. There's a whole topic I'm almost tempted to press with my finger about esports, but I don't think there's any particular game I'd like to see appear in the Olympics.
I have a question. I don't know if anyone here will know the answer, and I'm not just throwing this out because you're from Devon.
Okay.
Is
You're gonna have to speak.
I'm gonna have to speak. I can't. The name has got Russian right. The thing with the sheep and the dog, where you get the sheep into a pen.
Sheepdog.
Sheep herding. Is that an Olympic sport?
No.
Or is it
No.
just a country show thing?
It is just a country show thing. There's no mention of it anywhere in any of the Olympic records, even of appearing.
Because throwing that out there as a second thing that would be quite fun. The Olympics.
I'll tell you what I would like to see. Have you seen that? I can't remember what it's called. The cheese run. The
downhill.
The downhill cheese. Or they throw the cheese down the hill and the guys just...
You could do... No. Okay, listen. The cheese that you chase after has to represent the country that you're competing for.
I'm pretty sure the Swiss get an advantage here.
I know. But I saw it the other day on YouTube and I thought, that is fantastic. I mean, these guys are just throwing themselves down this hill at this cheese. I mean... No regard for their own health or safety. They literally go for it. Hats off to them.
You know what? That's actually a great one for us to compete in, because as Brits, we select our a cheese of our nationality. We'd win every time. We just throw cottage cheese.
It's messy and silly. Zach, I feel you're on the cusp of a revelation a short moment ago.
Yes, with the sheep herding.
Sheep herding.
There we go. Do it so obviously it has to be competitive, and I suggest we don't do it in turns. Every country goes at once, and you have sheep dyed for different countries, and you do it on crystal maze rules, where every sheep you get into your pen that's the right colour gains you a point. Every sheep from a different country loses you a point.
Or
that's really hard. Aren't dogs colourblind?
I've got an even better one. I've got one that will be hilarious for the audience, but absolutely terrifying for the people actually playing. So this adds a lot of RNG into it, but each one of the sheep has a little tag on its ear, and that sheep is designated a certain amount of points. And you as a spectator can watch this, and watch as these sheep are being herded, knowing they have various different point allocations, and the people herding them have absolutely no idea. So at the end of it, you tally it up, you try to get as many sheep as possible in, but there's that one sheep that's worth like 250 points that suddenly swings it in your favour. The golden sheep!
Right. I'm going to pull the conversation right back down, because I have a sensible suggestion as the host.
If you want.
UFC. Because we did mention it briefly before the conversation began, but I'm just going to bring it up now because I've watched a bit of it. I'm not a massive fan, but then I don't watch much boxing either. But boxing's in the Olympics,
Yeah.
and when you look at the origins of the Olympics back in Greece, fighting was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Like, being a warrior was a massive thing to do with it, and you had the wrestling and several other fighting.
Things like javelin.
Yeah,
It's
just
basically
combat-based
just throwing a
sports.
Discus, pugilist fights.
So,
Yeah.
so UFC surely is the purest form of that. It is two men in a ring kicking the crap out of each other, and yes, it's a violent sport, but so is boxing. And you can apply whatever Olympic rules to it you want to make sure, you know, give them gloves, give them whatever, if you need to. But I think it's a sport we seem to look down on or consider just a bit too violent. But I think it's...
Does UFC normally bare knuckle?
No, you wear
No.
gloves.
Okay.
You do wear padded
It's not
gloves.
padded
They're not
like
as,
boxing
they're not as
gloves.
like, yeah, they're not.
You usually wear a padded wrapping,
Yeah.
where you'll have some extra support around your knuckles. One for not injuring your opponent, two for obviously
Not
not
breaking your hands.
breaking your hands.
Yeah.
And that wrapping is then supported all the way up so that you then also don't do too much damage to your own arms with blocks and such. But for the most part, you're kind of bare.
Okay.
So you'll have the glove wrappings. You'll normally have your shorts and often high ankle shoes to give you grip and support. But that's about all you'll do. I mean, actually, no, I don't think you even wear shoes. I think a lot of them just fight barefooted, just with then
Yes,
support.
barefooted usually. Yeah, it's usually bare feet and then shorts. Yeah, and that's it. And then wrapping around the hands. But yeah, I believe, you know, it is a sport. It takes a lot of training and work to get there. It relies on technical skill. It relies on timing. I think it should be in there.
Well, it's kind of like
Athletic gymnastics.
no.
Acrobatic gymnastics.
I was going to say it's more like the athletics. You know that you got everything involved. What is it, the heptathlon? It's where you do everything basically, and it's about tactics. So you'll have the javelin, you'll have the hammer and throw, you'll have 100-meter hurdle, or 100.
You were right. That is the heptathlon.
The heptathlon, yeah, you'll have a heptathlon, which is basically a combination of all the sports, and you get to see who is an all-round athlete at the minute. Because it does incorporate quite a lot of all the fighting styles, doesn't it? It's got like jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, and everything. So it's kind of like that in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't watch a lot of UFC myself, but I suppose
It is an intense sport, but it's a sport, and you know, if boxing can be in there, I think, yeah, so should UFC. So to move us on to another topic, this I'm going to say is a brief one. Let's not go as in depth. Partially just to stir the controversy pot. But what sport should be removed from the Olympics? Quick fire answers, Zachary. Let's start with you.
So what sports are in the Olympics?
John, as our residential info man, can you pull up a list?
Well,
Do you want me to read them all out? Or do you want me to show them?
I don't have an individual sport, but I have a kind of broad category.
Okay.
And it kind of goes back to what we were saying a moment ago about the original Olympics being about fighting and stuff like that. I don't think that modern sports really should be in the Olympics, by which I mean things like football and cricket and tennis and badminton and whatever other things we put. So I kind of... Maybe I'm being very traditional in a way, but
I understand where you come from. I always think if the Olympics isn't the pinnacle of your sport, then it shouldn't really be in the Olympics. I mean, like football, it's not really the pinnacle of the sport, is it? It's the World Cup, isn't it? Everyone wants to go for the World Cup.
Yeah, cricket.
So that's why I don't think that really should be in it. And it's like tennis. Everyone, I'm not saying how people are looking. It's more Wimbledon, isn't it, that you want to go for? It's not really it is still a great honour to represent your country at the Olympics, but that's my rule. I think if you don't think that the Olympics is the pinnacle of your sport, then
that being said, at least as far as tennis goes, I know this is probably just like a personal statement, but Andy Murray's statement with regards to Wimbledon and the Olympics was he was more. He found it more important that he won gold at the Olympics in his home country than he did winning Wimbledon that year. So that's what he trained for.
Well, that's absolutely great. But it's just going back to the football then, because everyone.
Football is one where I do look at it with a curious eye because it's not seen as important in any way. And you're right, it should be the pinnacle of your sport.
It should be the pinnacle. Like, I don't even think... Like,
and tennis can be, because tennis doesn't have a World Cup as much. It has a lot of opens and these big competitions, but there is no singular...
The Grand Slams.
Well, there's the Grand Slams, but there's no sort of... An Olympic gold medal would still stand out in a tennis players' awards list. It would still mark them as one of the best of their generation.
It's also because the Olympic medals as well are the one of the events that is not included entirely in the circuit points system, which does the world seeding for tennis. So the way that tennis world seeding works is that your positioning in every tournament over the past year, every iteration of every tournament, you're tallied up over that year, and that is what makes your point score. And each placing is worth so many points. And different tournaments are worth different amounts of points in total spaces. So the Grand Slams obviously being the most important, and the lesser tournaments being worth less points, but still making it matter. Which is why when Federer, I believe, took an injury leave and left a lot of smaller tournaments, he dropped so many seeding points because he just wasn't competing and got an immediate zero. So I think he fell from, what was second seed in the world to something along the lines of 8th. So it just goes to show that everything in tennis matters all the time. The more you compete, the better you will be seen as. And just one drop somewhere can cause a lot of problems for you in seeding. I mean, the upper tiers is actually quite fast-paced. I think Novak Djokovic is still something like 1,000 points ahead of the next best, which is Andy Murray. But
it's just like I said, like, I can only speak to myself in my position as well. Whenever Olympics would be the pinnacle of our sport, I mean, we do have the World Championships, we've got the European Championships, we've got the World Games, which is every 4 years, which is kind of like our Olympics now, but the pinnacle of our sport would be the Olympic Games. And it's just, if the athlete sees that in their sport as the pinnacle, then that's understandable, that's great, that's what it is. But then if it isn't, then that's just where I'm a bit.
So would yours be football then? Do you think you'd get rid of football, or is...
No, I probably wouldn't get rid of football. I'd probably get rid of... Well, it sounds awful to say get rid of a sport, because I am not part... Because it sounds awful to say that, but if I had to get rid of a sport, I mean, I've got no hard feelings towards the sport.
This was supposed to be a quick fire.
Yeah, I know. I know, but it's just hard. I'd say golf. Golf. Yeah, I know we've already talked about golf today, going through the plans, but I won't go into that. But it would have to be golf, or make them, or make them.
Quick reason why, and you're on the clock. You've got 30 seconds.
Okay, well,
starting now.
Okay, they don't carry their own clubs. I mean, come on, mate. They get when they hit the ball, they get taken in that car all the way there. I mean, they're sweating, but that's just because of the heat of the sun. I mean, yes, it is a technical game. You've got to be... There is skill involved in it, but it's just... I don't know, it's just something about it. It doesn't... Olympic sport feels like you should be getting up early in the morning of like 5 a.m, going to the gym.
And you're done.
What about...
5 hours or something.
What about...
You're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
It. There.
Respect for the host.
I'm going to get a lot of flack for this.
Instead of using a par system for scoring, do it time-based.
Oh, time. No, but that just increases the idea that people are just going to get faster and faster golf carts.
I know.
They're going to hire racing drivers.
That's the idea.
We're moving on from golf. John, have you got any quick suggestions?
Water motorsports.
Water motorsports,
because
quick.
Honestly, the majority of the work there is being done by the machine.
Yeah.
You are in control, but it is still a heavily machine-reliant sport.
It's like F1 is an Olympic sport, and it's because, it's such a huge team effort and relies on mechanics and the random number generator that is life, and if it'll work or not.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't feel like it is all on the athlete there. I feel like, and again, returning to the idea that the Olympics was something to show extensive physical prowess, and a lot of it was combat-based, it just makes me think, it's not quite close enough to a chariot race. You haven't reared the horses yourself. You haven't got to know them. You've gotten on the back of a Mitsubishi and decided that you want to go that way.
Right, for my answer, John, can I hear some of the list? Because I am ignorant as hell and I'm just going to pick on something. And I'm sorry about this. But I can't, like, I've discussed football and I feel that would be my sort of first initial response as an answer because, yeah, it doesn't feel like the pinnacle. And sportswear, yeah, it doesn't seem to matter. And especially when the sport's still missing. And the Olympics should be a celebration of human physical achievement and something at our rawest base as creatures, just achieving a pinnacle.
Do you want me to just go through some
Please
of the ones
list
that I
me
think
some
are
random ones and I will.
Okay, so we have BMX freestyle and BMX racing.
Keep going.
We have field hockey.
You're going to be popular among the BMX crowd, aren't you?
Keep going.
Sailing, shooting, skateboarding. Weightlifting, equestrian vaulting, cricket, croquet, lacrosse, polo, tug of war, and the figure skating and ice hockey are the ones that I think of are a bit.
I don't want to pick on BMXing. But as an Olympics sport.
BMX racing I can see an argument for. BMX racing where you it's basically the through the forest race that people go on.
Yes.
BMX freestyle.
Freestyle is a bit. I thought BMX tricks was just a 90s thing that went away.
But they didn't go away, apparently going to the Olympics.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. If it's a choice between that and acrobatic gymnastics, I'd rather watch acrobatic gymnastics just because I feel that's the best argument we've got of some sports don't deserve to be in the Olympics when others are left out. I'm going to move on before we offend anyone. Quick fire round.
Oh, God.
We tried that.
Freaking stick to it. This is a simpler
Speed
question.
run.
Would you rather have the skills of a world-class boxer or a world-class runner? And this is just for everyday use. You don't have to compete in any competitions. So it's not super speed, super strength. I'm actually thinking of the Olympians.
I know it's a quick fire round, but when you say skills, that includes physical prowess. Just
physical prowess.
okay.
Just you
build
take on
and
the
something
build
that you
and general abilities. Like you take the stats
Okay.
of a world-class boxer or a world-class sprinter.
Which D&D sheet would you rather have?
Yeah, which D&D sheet would you rather have? John, for summing it up so nicely, you get to go last, Alex.
I would say, I'm just going to do it because I took loads of time last time, very quick. I'd say running, just because I've always dreamed of having healthy knees.
Healthy knees, good answer. Zachary?
I said the sprinter because I'm always running for a train.
I like that. I kind of want to say boxer because I feel just being that built would be kind of nice. And also boxers are pretty good at ducking.
What weight division though?
I mean, by my build, I'd probably be about a middleweight. Not that tall, about hefty. It depends how much muscle I'd put on, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'd probably be about a middleweight.
I mean, if you were to bulk up, you could probably manage.
Yeah, and I mean, they have good cardio, good ducking abilities and dodging abilities. So I think I'd actually quite enjoy that. I'd still be fairly alright on my feet.
You'd be the tank of the group.
I'd be the tank of the group. John?
For an odd reason, I'd go with boxing.
Go on.
Because of the reaction times that those people have. And as somebody that is as much of a video gamer, especially on a competitive side, as I am, that would be really, really useful for me just in my everyday life.
That's a really good point. A random thing we're going to discuss. The European Olympics is a thing we found out about just beforehand. So, does anyone know about this and want to explain? Because I didn't know about this until someone brought it up.
European Olympics. The first one was in 2015, and that was in Baku. And it wasn't really known if it was going to continue, so they were just trying it. It was kind of trying to see how it was received, and it was received quite well. And so it's coming back again, and I think it's going to be in Belarus in 2019. I think it's in Belarus. But in that sport, acrobatic gymnastics is in it, which is great, which is a step forward in it. But I don't think that, like I said, but that doesn't have as much publicity.
Are we going to be competing? Are we in or out? I feel there's a question here when you mention Europe in an English voice.
Leonora, we will be in because it doesn't affect whether you're in the EU or not. So we will still get to be in, which is great.
Also, to know, off the top of your head, you were right. It is in Belarus.
Is it
2019.
Is it in Belarus? It was in Belarus. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually really surprised I got that right.
Yeah, and
That's amazing.
I'm just looking at some of the countries, and there are 50 competing countries.
Any
in
of
there.
them not in Europe? That's a good question. Just look at
It is.
Eurovision.
I mean,
I know it goes the route of Eurovision. Australia start coming.
there's one of them that isn't entirely in Europe.
Is it Russia?
It is Russia.
Isn't there a Eurovision Asia or something now? I feel I heard about this the other day. This is a topic for another time. We'll look into it. But there you go. That was the European Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything more to add, John, from your fact-finding mission?
Well, just at the moment that I'm actually quite liking the list of sports on this. It's much more along the lines of the things we were discussing we'd like to see.
There are quite a lot of it's kind of like the World Games that we are, like I was saying before, in the acrobat gymnastics were in the World Games, and there's a lot of sports that you don't see that aren't in the Olympics. Like, what do they have? I saw the sumo wrestling. I don't think that's sumo wrestling. That was at the World Games. I don't think that's in the Olympics.
It has appeared once.
It has appeared once.
Sumo, it is also a registered event of the Olympics.
Was in Japan at the time.
That is it's recognised. It's just it's not. I don't think it's appeared on their regular scheduling. Sumo has appeared, as has, oddly enough, one of the recognised but not advertised or registered sports is karate on the Olympics. I don't think there's anything for kickboxing, which is a shame because I know that some fantastic kickboxers who would love to see at the Olympics.
So, a quick rundown of the sports in the European Olympics.
Quick rundown.
Missing.
The aquatic ones: diving, swimming, synchronized swimming, water polo. There's an archery, athletics, badminton, basketball 3-on-3. There is beach soccer, which
that's interesting.
Football on sand.
Sounds like fun.
The one that I like the sound of the best: canoe sprint.
Canoe.
That is a good. I have one of my friends I did gymnastics with for years. His sister, I think, is a canoe sprinter.
What does it involve?
It's basically you and when I'm just going by what I've seen her do on like a Facebook thing. There's two of you in a boat, in a canoe. Yeah. Obviously, it kind of gives it away. And it's basically you just got to sprint. You're on your knees like that, and you just canoe, and you've got to get. I don't know how far it is.
Is it flat? It's not like down.
Oh yeah. It's flat. It's just as far as you can get to A to B as quickly as you can.
As well as that, there is cycling, which includes BMX, mountain biking, and road cycling, fencing, gymnastics, acrobatic, artistic, rhythmic, trampoline, and aerobic, which we haven't covered.
Oh, aerobic.
There are 5 varieties of gymnastics at the European Olympics. There is judo and the parajudo, karate, sambo, shooting, table tennis, taekwondo, triathlon, volleyball, beach and indoor. Don't worry, guys, there's something for everybody. Wrestling, which includes freestyle and Greco-Roman, and that is their lineup as such.
There's quite a lot of sports you would see in the Olympics we've had for years. So it's I think it's a good idea.
I like it.
It's
I
really
like
good
the
idea.
idea of taking it back to basics again.
Uh-huh.
Gonna sort of start wrapping up now. So another last quick fire. I don't know why I bothered to say. What sport do you wish you'd taken up as a kid and had seen through for a bit? I think. Do I want to start this one?
Yeah,
I mean, I am going to say I wish I'd taken up some form of combat training, as in a martial art or a boxing type thing. Just because I am quite a clumsy person. It has to be said. I am physically useless with my body, and it would have been really tough for me. But to have better skills with my movement capabilities as a boxer, as a martial artist, and to have a greater control and discipline in some other areas, I think would have been quite good for me. I don't know if I'd have quite turned out to be the marvellously strange gentleman I am. That's a different story. Zachary, as another marvellously strange gentleman.
I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit here. I kind of wish I'd properly gotten into archery a lot earlier than I did.
Okay.
And I say properly, it's just like an occasional hobby. But getting around to actually finally owning my own bow and just being able to go out and do it every now and again, really satisfying. Like, it is so satisfying just seeing an arrow fly off into the distance. Whether or not it hits a target is a completely irrelevant matter. I've only done like the tiniest little bit when I was younger. So yeah, that's me. That's kind of the simple one, but there we are.
Okay. Alex?
Ooh. I've probably some form of athletics would have liked to have done. Like, I've always would have liked to have done sprinting. Problem is, I'm not very tall. I mean, I'm about 5'10", so. But I don't know. It's really a hard one, just because I've been doing sport most of my life, and it's hard to see myself doing something else.
Marathon running as well.
I couldn't do marathon running. I don't think, because it's.
That's
doing
what I
that
mean.
for
I wish I could.
I know, but I think I would just get bored.
Yeah.
Like, just running for that length of time, I don't think I could. That's why my gymnastics, our routines only last about 2 minutes, because not just us, other people, we get bored after that.
You'd have to pick somewhere you've never been before, so you can just enjoy it. Oh, this is nice.
Either that, or on the racetrack, you've got to do the thing where he's wearing a harness and there's a stick with a biscuit just in front. The biscuit.
And John,
to
finish us off.
I have done so many different sort of small sports and things like that. I've tried so many different things. And one of the ones that I very much enjoyed, which I never ended up doing more than just the one time because of availability of it, was fencing. And as somebody, as you know, who's quite accustomed to sword play, and gay as it may sound, in all aspects,
gentlemen, please.
I would quite have enjoyed taking up fencing. I tried it one time. I was reasonably good at it. I enjoyed myself a lot, and I quite like the dynamics of working with a foil, and I quite like the equipment. I don't know what it is, but the face mask and the all white. There's part of that, but I like the uniform that went with it, and I think I could have seen myself seriously doing fencing if I'd had the opportunity to.
So, to end with something other than John dressed in all white and waving a sword around. Alex, you have a story about a tattoo?
Well, I don't have any tattoos at the minute, but because potentially starting back into gymnastics training in October in acrobatic gymnastics for the British Championships in February and potentially the World Championships that will be in April. I think they're in Belgium. That will mark the 10th time that I've competed for Team GB in the British and World Championships. So we thought we might celebrate that if we get to the Worlds. Celebrate that by getting the team lion tattooed on my back, somewhere, probably on my shoulder blade. I mean, I'm one of those people that would say I would never get a tattoo unless it really meant something to me. I would only get a meaningful tattoo. But I've always heard stories that once you have had one, you get a bit addicted and you start getting more. But that's the only one I would probably get. So if get to the World Championships, I'll probably be dragged along.
If you did it 20 times, you could get another one.
I'll get another one on the other shoulder.
Well, that's a nice thing to end on. Best of luck with it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So, to wrap up, I've been Flynn McManus. Thank you for listening. Zachary?
I have been and continue to be Zach.
Alex?
Same there. I'm Alex. Thanks for having me. First podcast.
No,
yeah.
It's been lovely having
you. What are we calling this?
I'm feeling gentleman.
Oh wait, no, sorry,
Gentleman's drinks, or gentleman's coffee. I don't know.
The tea party. No wait.
Tea and biscuits.
It's all about tea and biscuits.
Tea and biscuits.
Tea and biscuits.
We don't have either. No, we have tea.
Well, we have tea.
Biscuits.
I coffee.
We have biscuits. Fantastic. Tea and biscuits, everyone. And John.
It's me. Last as always. Goodbye, everybody.